again. Once again. Once again. Once again. Once again. Once again. again. Once again.
At a conversation starter.
You know that if I never had to hear Lenny Kravitz again, I'd be fine.
You mean hear him talk or hear a song by him?
Does it
Both.
matter?
Yeah.
I think it does matter.
Yeah,
Are you
I don't know
gonna-
why. What
Are
it
you gonna
is.
Go My Way? Is that one of his?
Yes.
Okay.
What? I just was all of my life. That when I was like, yeah. It was just on like something I was watching, and I was like, this is. I don't need to hear this song, like ever. Doesn't like it's not like he's offensive. I'm so empathetic to him.
Fair.
Is that just me? Is
No.
that just me? Like, no? Okay.
I mean, most music I could live without, but I don't go around blatantly telling Lenny Kravitz that he sucks. So
I didn't say he sucks. I just, well, I don't.
You certainly implied it.
yeah,
I do think
heavily
it is.
implied.
If Lenny Kravitz was the main character in It's a Wonderful Life, nothing would change when he jumped off the bridge. That's what Alex is saying right now.
Wow, that was accurate.
I would
It was
argue
insanely apt.
the opposite, as Zoe Kravitz is a saint.
Yes, I do enjoy her. I do enjoy her body of work.
Yeah, I thought that was going to take a different direction too.
No,
Okay.
I enjoy her body of work. She does good. She does good work. She's a good actress, I think.
You should check out The Studio on Apple TV.
Yes, I. Have
What's
seen,
Apple TV?
I have.
I
seen
don't
some
know.
of that.
I don't know. I've been
That's where Mythic
watching,
Quest is. That's where Mythic Quest is.
I've been watching Severance.
Oh, good.
Wait, can we go back to Mythic Quest?
Yeah.
Alex, did you watch the original finale?
I did not.
And then-
I'm a season behind.
So if you guys didn't know, maybe you pay
I have heard
attention
about
to
this.
it, but
Yeah.
Mythic Quest, they aired an episode for the last season that was on, like, yeah, we're going to continue. And then they're like, you know what? We're actually going to end the series there.
Yeah,
And then
canceled.
they went in and they changed the last episode. So the last 5 minutes of it, different. Well, not completely different. There's something that happens. Alex will probably end up watching it. So I'll tell
Did you
him
watch-
after. Yes.
Did you watch the original?
We saw the original ending, and then I was like, that's pretty good. And then they changed it, and I was like, that's not good at all.
Oh, it's bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
I like the characters' dynamic and the way that they could have ended it the other way, and it still would have been fine. But there's been a couple of shows that it's like, if you ended it right here, it would be fine. Like, this could be a good ending.
They kind of separated the characters out though, that they stopped interacting. Like three people interacted, and then like 7 other people interacted like together, but they weren't all like 10 of them together, and I didn't like that for the season I'm in.
So I looked up Zoe Kravitz and I went through her IMDb. I've seen nothing that she is in.
You didn't see the Batman?
Nope.
That's a you problem, sir.
You really should see the Batman. It's fantastic.
Is it?
It is.
It is actually
Really
fairly competent.
I think it's one of the best Batman stories that they've put in film.
It's very true to the character. It's long. That's the
It's
complaint.
3 hours. It's
Oh.
fully 3 hours.
I don't have time to watch a 3-hour movie.
You can watch it in half an hour
absolutely-
increments.
And you also spend a lot more time doing a lot more other things.
No, I don't.
Here, let me
Yes.
help you out, Alec. You know the 20 minutes that you spent playing the betas for this week at 7 o'clock, just don't do that, and you can watch a quarter of the movie.
Yes.
Hey, I spent 25 minutes playing the
No.
betas.
At least
Now
5
imagine if you
minutes of that
spent-
was him in a screen.
And
like, at
also
the
ma-
start menu.
Imagine if you had spent 25 minutes watching The Batman.
Well,
Mhm.
then I wouldn't have anything to talk about on the podcast.
That's fine. You didn't need to talk
You-
about the betas. Just I would
Yeah.
prefer it if you saw The Batman. I think that would be better for you, like as a human being.
You got a whole 2 weeks to do it. Just
Yeah.
go watch it.
I'll watch
Don't
it with
make
you.
excuse-
You want to
every
hang out?
time- Yeah.
do wanna
Ooh, do you
hang
not want to do like I could just make us drinks at home and we could just watch The Batman.
That sounds like a plan.
See, every time that you think I don't have time to watch the Batman, just watch 15, 20 minutes of it, and it'll be done before you know it.
Yeah, but is that enough to get a feel for it?
You'll
Like-
probably
you got to commit at some point.
Oh, also Alec, no, you get the feel in the first 5 minutes. You get
Yeah.
that first opening sequence, you're kind of locked in real fast.
don't worry.
It starts really well and then kind of holds on to you for the majority of it. Like I would say that movie falters at the
Come on
end.
here.
But that first
Come here.
hour is really really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I think the last like half an hour could have been cut.
it could have been trimmed. There are definitely some parts where it's like this wasn't absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
I know that it was a choice. Do we do podcast stuff this week too?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd say that this
Supposedly.
is a podcast.
Suppose.
All right, fine. So I'm not. I guess what's good internet? Sure. Welcome to session 294. That can't be right.
It is.
We've been doing this that long. We're almost at 300.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Do we
have
do
party.
a Spartan episode for episode 300?
I could
Everybody
rewatch
goes
that
shirtless?
movie and then just have a whole bunch of shirtless and then just yelling.
Yeah,
gruff voices. I can come up with some real solid quotes from that movie. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'd have to rewatch it. But I can come up with some like super meathead quotes from that movie.
All right, let's run through the cast really quick. Our cast, not the cast of 300.
You got Clive Owen. Is it Clive Owen?
No,
No.
No, you
Gerard
don't.
It's Zoe
Butler, right?
Kravitz in there.
Wait,
no, it's not.
no, she's not.
He's not. He's.
Because I have
said
seen
the-
300, and I know she's not in
No.
that.
Uh-huh.
I said the cast of Super GG Radio. So
You thought
this
about
week,
it for a second though.
I will be your host, somebody who knows nothing about anything. Also with me is Alex Arona, who apparently can just rail off actors' names, even though they're not in the movie that you think that he's talking about.
Both Owen and Luke Wilson. Alec all of a sudden is questioning it. Also, I like how you didn't even say your name, Getty.
I know. I just said I'll be your host because that's how far off the rails it is. I wanted to start this half an hour ago.
Mhm.
I'll be Eric Getty Gettinger. How about that?
There you
We
go.
got Alex Arona, Joel
Yo.
DeWitt, who Joel
Yeah.
is gonna probably maybe beat Sekiro. Not sure. And then Alec Parks.
Okay. You know, I am going to beat Sekiro.
Huh?
All right.
I am.
I think that
the
it's
question
really.
is timeline.
I think what's funnier is that we've kind of just bullied Joel enough that he's just mad. I'm gonna beat Sekiro, damn it! And it really was just a goal, just to bully him enough that he'll actually do it.
I
This-
want him to. I need him to add that to his list of accomplishments.
this is the closest FromSoft game has really grabbed me, and I think I know why. It is because the speed. Like the few times I played a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls, it felt really slow by comparison to this. So like this is really snappy and quick, and as anger-inducing as it is, it's really cool how quickly things fly in that game.
Games like Bloodborne and Elden Ring amp up the speed, but
Mhm.
nothing is as fluid as Sekiro. Nothing
Yeah.
ever gets that way. Everything else, not for nothing though, they do ramp up the speed in those
Mhm.
two games. Like I was a Dex dual wielding swordsman in Elden Ring and Bloodborne, just because there aren't any blocks. there aren't any shields. You only have dodge and parries.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is like a history of that. Sekiro just being the thematic next step of like that speed.
All right. Fair enough.
You'll get there someday.
Yep.
I definitely said Alec is with us this week, but
Yep.
I don't have.
He's still going down the Zoe Kravitz IMDb.
Is he really?
I was going down the should I beat Legend of Mana or should I complete Legend of Mana rabbit
I don't know what the
hole.
difference is.
Well, to beat it, you just need to beat the last boss. Complete it, there are so many more missions that I have that I
Oh, that's
can-
a that's a
You should
Yes.
beat it and then watch the Batman.
Yeah.
yes. Also, you should beat it and then just decide whether you want to keep playing it or not.
Mm-hmm. That's also a very viable option.
Hmm?
Video games are, you don't have to play them.
There's in Persona 3 there's always like this like secondary like story that's like an extra like 20 hours. And I definitely like I beat Persona 3 and I was like, cool, done. And it's like, do you want to continue doing the DLC? And I'm like, no. And I actually just started it up like recently where I'm like, oh, if I'm okay right now. I do want to try to finish that up. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into that DLC now after I took a break for like a couple months.
I did try and bully Alex into playing any of the 14 other games that he is actively in the middle of. It did not work.
Well, first off, I'm not in the middle of any of those games that you said. You're just being a bully at that point.
Are you kidding? So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You did not start Monster Hunter?
I got one mission in. That doesn't count.
That
Monster
counts
Hunter-
as
got the-
starting it. That's you
that's the
started the game.
tutorial.
Yeah.
That's the tutorial.
You started the game.
I did the tutorial.
It's starting the game.
It is.
That's not.
It's 3-1 here, buddy.
No. You can do whatever. I don't care. It's not your life. It's my life.
Final Fantasy 16.
That one I do want to get back to. That one's coming back.
So I was also lying about that one.
No, you said Stellar Blade. That was one of them, and I'm like, I didn't absolutely. don't start
Expedition
Stellar Blade.
33. You're not playing that one either.
That is ongoing. I am playing that.
Uh-huh.
I'm playing that on stream. That's only on stream.
All right. I'm just wondering. You're gonna finish
See,
all
this
of
is
those?
this is just bullying.
I know it is.
Yeah,
I
because I
just
am
want
going to
you
beat all those games.
Commit to commit to do it.
I
You
beat
mentioned
I
Final
beat
Fantasy
pressure.
VII.
I beat 3 games this week. What are you talking about? 2
You
games.
mentioned
And I
Final
got
Fantasy VII yet, or is that not started yet?
He didn't start it.
Okay. All right.
That was also on his list of things that he was trying to complain with me about.
I did not say that because I know
I don't
that
really
you didn't
pay
start
attention
it.
to you texting me half the time.
That's true for you to me as well. But this week we definitely have some early adopters. So before we break up the podcast, let's come together to talk about a couple of games. And that's why Alex wants to tell you about the button effect.
You press a button, it does the thing.
So
Nailed
I
it.
have some thoughts here. Y'all go to work, right? Everybody's employed right now.
Yep.
Theoretically.
How do you feel about
Should probably clock
clicks? How do you feel about clicks? You want more clicks or less clicks?
out. That's clocked out of work.
I feel like more clicks.
More clicks?
So
Yeah.
my job is to automate
Efficiency.
things, so I want less clicks.
Okay.
The more I can
But-
make
but-
the computer do, the better I'm doing.
My job has to do with emergency hospital equipment. So the more clicks is bad.
Uh-huh.
So
Less clicks.
so I have less clicks and more using my brain right now in my job. So I miss clicks. I'd like more clicks. I
But
miss
for
the
efficiency's
sound.
sake.
I miss the yes, of course. You know, do the clicks for efficiency.
So I have a team of people and the general consensus is less clicks. So the button effect is first person, you are interacting with buttons to solve puzzles. And I got to the second room and I was like, man, I'm starting to feel like less clicks would be good because it's just a lot of clicking, and then I'd go back and click another button and then go forward and click a button and then, repeat in order to solve the puzzle.
Yep.
It's a
So
lot of
it-
clicks.
As an example, you would get a green button that would have a line that would be like facing forward. but there would be like a little like a wall in front, but there would be a red button next to that little wall. You press the red button, the wall goes down. You press the green button, it goes and lights a button on the other side of that wall. And like you just keep moving forward, unblocking the green button from igniting the next button in the chain. So you're just finding ways to go back and forth, trying to like open up more buttons. And that's what I think is kind of funny is that like the reward for figuring out how to push button correct is more push button. It's
Yep.
like, oh, you push the button. Good job pushing button. You know what you get? Another button. Push button.
It's
I'm like,
having to
push
go
button.
back an
Yeah.
entire room to find the button that I need to click in order to move forward back to the other room. I'm all for puzzle games. Like I really do enjoy them. I appreciate them. I started playing Escape Academy because I thought that might be fun.
It's fun.
And those puzzles generally, will take
Make
you
some
somewhere.
semblance of sense. Yeah.
This is just like, did you click button? Click button gooder.
No, now click other button. Great job. Now click pre-button to get post button, which you can unpress the post button, which rewards you with
With
next
more
room
buttons.
with more buttons. Yes.
Which
I don't want to be too critical of it. It is, the puzzles are fairly simple. There was nothing that had me bashing my head against the wall. It just feels like a lot of clicking.
You want more of a linear experience when you're doing your puzzling.
I want it to challenge me.
Mhm.
At the same time, I want it to be, just not click button.
Okay.
but how
All right,
else are you
because
supposed
you
to
mentioned
receive bacon?
And I think that there's like a
was
funny
there bacon?
No, that's
Yeah, I
the
missed the bacon.
there's an old meme about air dryers that with the wavies that push
Uh-huh.
button receive bacon.
Bacon. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I always think of the that old video where it's a guy and he goes, "Hey, if you hit this button, you get $10,000." And the guy presses it and he goes, "Well, wait, hold on. The rest of the thing was that someone dies." And the guy goes, "Okay," and presses it again. And wait, no, you're not supposed. Okay, stop. The guy's like, "What?" And so keeps hitting the button over and over again. It's just that kind of concept where I'm like, the reward is the
Man,
button.
that's a movie. Isn't that a movie with Ben Affleck?
That later became a movie, yes. But it started out as just like as a viral video thing, but it's
What
like
movie is that?
Hold on, I think it's just called The Button. Wait.
yes,
Is it?
it's like a suspense thriller thing, which again,
Yeah.
it's like the whole joke was that like it's not that's not a bad thing for it's like, oh, okay, like I saw the same thing was also it's like if you hit this button you get $10,000 but you lose 7 years of your life, and the guy just keeps hitting it over and over again. He's like, "What's wrong? Stop doing that! Stop doing that!" He goes, "I'm not gonna give you any money," and the guy goes, "That's fine," and then keeps hitting it, hitting it. Just goes hitting the button over and over again.
What is something like? Is there a scenario that you don't push the button?
For what? What do you mean? In
I
in
don't
life or
know.
in this game?
Yes. Like if this were a real scenario where somebody says, if you push the button, you will get, but something bad will happen. Is there a scenario where you don't push the button?
Oh, that's too easy, man. There's 1,000 scenarios. It's like, oh, but if you hit the button, you're gonna kick your mama in the temple, and I'm like, well, I don't like that.
I
that's not-
mean, it depends though. Like
What if
for
the
$1
what if the
billion
negative was
dollars, my mom would slap me for not hitting that button and kicking her in the temple.
Well, yeah. So, but now what you're saying is there anything that I guess are you asking? Is there anything that you wouldn't do for money?
Well,
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I would do for money, Alec.
think like
I-
the $10,000 button if somebody shits their pants every time you press it.
I would hit that button dozens of times. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I would-
Like,
I would
And then the guy's
until,
like-
until
guy's like-
Alex texted and said, "Dude, you won't believe what just happened."
and the funnier part was the guy would be like, "Well, I'm not even going to give you any money," and I'd be like, "It's not for the money. I want everyone to poo their pants."
speaking of which, I think Joel, you've got penalty.
Are we doing that still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Did he
I
swear?
thought we still
He
weren't
said the S
swearing.
word.
Yeah.
Did he?
Does that count?
You said sword?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't
Alright,
think
well,
that's what he said, but if
Yeah.
he did, then
You're up.
shame.
Have we defined what punishment is?
3 hours of Sekiro.
It's
I'm gonna do that anyway.
how
No,
about
you're
doing the
not. No,
podcast
you're not.
sober?
Your Sekiro sessions are 1 hour. I want 3.
It's like
Did
an
you
hour and
say
a half.
doing the podcast sober?
Yes.
Oh,
I sure
that's
did.
This
That's a
is
tough one,
one.
too.
That's one.
This is
That's
my
one.
third
You
beer.
drinking a Yingling? That's
Yeah,
a
he
half.
is.
That's half.
See? Exactly. This might as well
Wait,
be
what if
water.
what if you have to do the podcast under 6 Yinglings?
I don't want
And he
that
works the
stomach
next
ache.
day.
Well, then you gotta stop swearing, Joel. At this point, it's either 3
Yeah.
hours of Sekiro or 7 Yinglings. The number keeps going up.
All right.
Mm.
All right.
Okay.
Completely derailed the podcast.
Yep.
We're not even talking about the button effect anymore. Okay, let's try and reset and click the button to get back into it. Okay. By show of buttons, who will press this when it's released? Did you guys finish the demo? Did you get to the wish list button?
I
No.
did not.
No, I got to the third room, got stuck, and was like, nope, I'm good.
I'm the
Yeah, I
only
got it where
chump
that's
that
like
did
there's
it.
all where you have like the thing keeps like a pillar of buttons keeps rotating. I
Yep.
couldn't figure out how to get past that one.
All
Mine
right.
was with the walls with the series of buttons on it.
Okay. Joel got pretty far then. It was right after that, so you weren't too far off from the end of it. Again, visually, it's good. I do like the narration of it. They really
Yeah,
set
they
the mood.
really kind of give you a whole mood, and then even give you like an opening credits sequence with like multiple voice actors and actresses like giving you like, oh, and then you hear about this person, then you hear this character, and there's gonna be a lot of it, and then they give you an introduction about and a philosophical, like little statement, and they really kind of bang out a real mood for you.
Yeah, I definitely skipped the intro.
Yeah,
Whoa.
you would,
I
because
will.
you hate voice actors.
No, I love voice actors. I hate waiting. They just so slow. So slow. And I was just like, okay, let me push the button.
He hates voice actors.
Well, anyway.
Notable-
Kara Strong is a saint.
Yeah, I won't argue at that point.
Yeah,
but-
we should probably stop and listen to her then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
She wasn't in the button effect.
You don't know?
Well,
How would
yeah.
you know?
You skipped the intro.
How would you know? There was credits, Alec.
Yeah, there were.
Uh,
I hate to agree with Alex, but he's right. Okay.
He's a jerk, but he's right.
I also would have liked the maybe it will in the full version of the game, but the pieces of artwork that you are at the gallery and they are around, it would be nice to also, move a little bit closer. I found myself running into the wall to get closer to see what was in some of the other gallery rooms instead of, just beelining to click all the buttons.
I mean, there was a zoom feature, right?
There was a zoom, but it was, I believe, the second room. If you walk over to the edge, there is an art installation, but it's off to the side. So even with the zoom, you're not getting a head-on look at it. And might be kind of cool to see some of those things, like try and get more up close. And
What I saw
Yeah.
though that was interesting was that there is there was like certain installations in the background of the hills, and if you ever played The Witness, you guys ever played The Witness?
nope.
My thought process,
No.
I'm like, there's gonna be a way that I press those as buttons, like on the Roaring Hills.
Yeah.
So
okay. So that was the button effect. Some of us may return to it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Depends on how many more button clicks we have to accomplish to get there. The other game that we played was Card Buster. And I know
Buster.
that the second that Alec went to install this, he went, "Why is this 16 gigabytes?"
I did.
So, Alec, Cardbuster, what is it?
So you play as a character in a top-down isometric view where you are running around utilizing cards that randomly appear in your 1 through 4s or your right analog stick to defeat enemies and advance through levels. It is Hades, but with deck building.
Which the deck building also, like, you do get some options. So like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna pick these through. I want to pick my weapons because again, I had like a flamethrower and a potato gun,
Yes.
but you could have swapped those out for different cards and add new abilities and weapons through your wheel.
And right after every run, you get the opportunity to customize your deck or to upgrade cards that are in your deck.
What I also liked is that the cards play off of each other. I had a tornado ability, which made I just had a tornado around me
Mhm.
that I would walk around and it would just hit enemies. So I didn't even have to attack; it would just automatically have the tornado. But if I then, because once you use it, that card went away. So then it gave me the flamethrower card. I shot my flamethrower; it went into the tornado. Now my tornado was on fire.
Fire
So
tornado.
Fire tornado. So
I
there was a
didn't
good
get that.
synergy there. Yeah, there was a good synergy. If you played around with these cards, you could combine some really cool stuff, especially like the passive.
Heck
And
yeah.
then like you would fight these enemies, and then there would be a gate that would open, and then you get a reward card, and where you could pick one or a couple different options, and then you continue on in your progression.
Right, and most stages had multiple exit gates to determine what your next reward was going to be: health, pop tabs, or a card.
Mhm. Everybody needs more pop tabs.
I don't even know what's going on.
Bye.
I did it.
Joel, edit that out.
No.
Do not edit that out. My son will not be silenced.
Joel, edit that out.
So, like, you brought up an interesting point. Why is this game 15 gigs?
Wow, Alec has something to
happened?
say about storage
Yeah,
here.
what happened to games being a reasonable size? I mean, Final Fantasy 9 is 9 gigs.
You've never played a Call of Duty, have you?
Yes, not recently, but
They're like 80. They're like 80 gigs.
It's
that's
a lot.
insane. Star
Yeah.
Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, great game, 1.24 gigs.
Also, look at when that came
It's-
out.
Right. So what happened that
Them 4K textures, sir.
It's all those
Mhm.
Ks. You know,
Yeah, all the
they-
Ks.
They first they want 4, and now they want 8
8.
in this economy.
Yeah.
and
Pixels
that's a
Our eyes,
problem.
everywhere.
our eyes could only read 2.5, 3 at best.
Right. That's why I'm happy with my 2K resolution, because I'm not even far enough away for it to matter to be able to make a difference.
You're not God. And through Jesus, all things are possible.
He said cheeses, in case you were
cheese.
wondering.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Jesus, he lives in the corner.
But seriously, like, why have we gotten so intense into only this game is not even graphically intensive. It seems absurd that it's 15 gigs.
I'm saying this from somebody who has very little technical knowledge, but if I've heard right before, it's that it depends on how well optimized the code is.
That's part of it, and graphics compression.
Mm-hmm. And I could see a case being, especially when you have a lot of smaller dev outfits, that they're not as compact as maybe they could be with a more robust team or something.
Balatro is 64 megs, one dev.
What game?
Balatro.
Balatro.
I mean, that feels like
Yeah.
a different case.
I mean, let's be honest. Balatro is kind of just a spreadsheet with a splash of paint on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
there's
is-
not a lot of intensity to even the animations in there. It's just
Monster Hunter Wilds is what? Let's see.
I imagine it's probably substantial.
72, and that's without the 4K textures.
That's a without the 4K?
Yes,
That's a beefy boy right there.
I'd have to add. There's a separate thing where it's like, do you want to install 4K shaders? And I'm like,
Oh, you
no.
know you do.
I don't.
You need
Ender
those.
Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, 4.5 gigs.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
again, not the same thing. sir.
Small. No, I'm comparing it to small team
Okay.
with potentially with graphics and story.
Hold on, let's do a one. Let's do one that's closer to 1-to-1. Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom.
Why don't
I'm
we
just-
just look at the main example here? Why don't we just check Hades?
Yellow Taxi Goes
Yeah,
Vroom.
Why don't we
is-
just check Hades?
Sure. And also, Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom is 2 gig, 2.5 gigs.
All right, so
Hades.
Hades 1, 11 gigs. Hades 2, 6.
I can't explain Hades 2, but Hades 1,
That's more normal.
I 10, yeah, I could definitely get there. I feel like 16 was like, I don't know why we got caught up again on something that's completely adjacent to the
It's
game.
Alec Tangent or Parks. That's what this was.
And I'm sober this time.
Okay.
That's just a lie.
Okay.
I also don't know what that's referencing. Were you
I
not
don't either.
sober
Last-
last week or?
Last time I was not.
Last time you went off on a rant?
The last time we recorded the podcast, I was not.
I missed last week. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a weird episode anyway.
That was a weird week for my PC where I had to restart it 5 times for my USB drivers to suddenly load.
Oof.
That's what happened is that I had a power failure, my PC rebooted, and every time after it rebooted, it would reboot without USB drivers.
All those dust tornadoes you're getting up there.
Dude,
Mhm.
definitely the dust tornado. And I saw an article that was like, that was probably toxic.
Oh, nice.
What am I supposed to do with this
Yeah,
information?
what am I doing with that? What am I doing with this information? I don't know how to feel.
Well, you
Cart-
didn't go out in it, did you?
I had the porch door open.
What?
I sat on the porch and watched it. I was like, huh, this is weird. Such a Chicago thing to do, too. Such a Chicago thing. Like,
Yeah, it is.
dust storm, weird, huh? Just stare at it. I'm gonna go over
Every
there.
time the sirens go off, it's like, hey, I should probably be inside. Like, nah, I'm gonna check it out.
I'm gonna check this. I'm gonna check this stuff out, man. I wanna know
I
what's
grew
going
up-
on.
I grew up in the Southwest in Arizona, so dust storms were nothing new for me. I was just used to them, and so when this came on, it was just like, okay, whatever.
It's tough.
Wow.
But Cardbusters, I think your dog is out of control.
I
today.
know. I'm
Joel,
gonna
edit
mute
this
again.
out. We got to edit this whole section of the podcast out. Like, why are we even having a podcast? Just
I-
edit the whole thing.
We should have done the former and do why are we having a podcast?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I think Cardbusters is is a very neat idea. I think the Hades formula still has some meat there. I don't know if the card situation here, it did feel a little bit clunky, the UI, how I would have to pull the card. There is like a reshuffle mechanic where you get one free reshuffle, but after that it takes health, which makes sense. But I felt like this one needed this needs a little bit more in the UI and interface. Because I died, but I didn't know. The hits were very passive
Yeah.
in a way that I was not like, I didn't feel a weight to them. I feel like with Hades you get hit.
Yeah.
Like there's a gravity to those hits. And I feel like with this one, I definitely did not feel the gravity. I just kind of was like, my character just kept going.
There was
So-
one of the monsters that threw rocks, and it was not apparent that there was an AoE from where the rock landed. So the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time I encountered it, I was standing there and I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling pretty good." And then I got hit and I went down and I was like, "Why?"
Yeah, I didn't even know I died. And then I look, I'm like, oh, my health is 0. I don't remember
So
how
much
I got
that-
hit that many times.
So much of that feel of impact has to do with audio and animation.
Yes.
Because it's got to have the right feel and it has to have the right sound that's projecting when you have the actual impact. But then you need the animation to actually feel like there's an impact point too, and it didn't have either here.
Yeah. So I think that those are some things that definitely could be improved. I think this idea is cool, just if only it were like a little bit more streamlined with how you pick the card to use and then just auto use it. Like I feel like there should be like a little bit more of a smoothness to it. I feel like that like a one button prompt should be the move, right? In
Did
this case,
you
it was like
play keyboard and mouse or controller?
controller.
I thought it was pretty straightforward for which card I was using. It was right stick, up, down, left, right.
But then you had to hit another button to get it, right?
No, only if it was your attack card, and that was just attack.
Well, no, I'm saying it's like to slot it in place. I thought you had to move the D-pad and then and then there was like another button for something else. For some reason, it felt like there was multiple button functionalities. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remembered it auto slotting every time it drew a card.
But how did you draw a card? Was
it
it one button?
automatically did it. After I used one card, it automatically drew my next one.
Oh, yeah, okay. But what I'm saying is that you could swap it out.
Oh, really?
You could
I missed that.
you could just discard a card for another card. I swapped between flamethrower and potato gun because I was getting impatient and I was like, I want to try a different weapon. Go.
Oh.
Yeah.
I missed that
yeah.
mechanic.
But overall, I think that this is a pretty neat idea. I think that especially with like deck building being very popular right now, that there is a market for this.
Oh yeah. Well, so
Yep.
despite all of my complaints about size, I did wishlist this. I like the gameplay. I like the deck building mechanic and the upgrades. It's fun.
Nice. It's good. Joel, did you get a chance to this one?
I don't like this game.
That tracks.
It's sad because I played very little of actual Hades, but I'm very tired of the Hades formula from all
Really?
the other also ran games that I've played that have come since Hades.
What have you played that's a Hades like?
Oh,
Hades.
Curse of the Dead Gods.
Oh yeah, that is one of them for sure.
I know it's not quite 1-to-1, but I feel like Cult of the Lamb has some of this in shades based off of the branching path kind of stuff that's going on in that.
Okay.
And the run-based stuff. There's been a few more. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But I just
Joel hates fun.
I do hate fun, and I
Oh,
don't.
you love Sekiro.
That's why I love Sekiro, because I hate fun. But I don't like how that the card system doesn't land with me. It feels a little hollow, and maybe it gets a little more in depth later on, or there's more cards that add depth to it. But the mixture just makes me feel like both of them are sort of half measured done.
Okay.
I think it could use some fine tuning. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big critique that we had is that knowing when you get hit and either fixing the weight behind it or making it a little bit more obvious. I think it'll get there. I'm of the same opinion as Alec. I'd like to see more of it. I wishlisted it. I think it could still be enjoyable, but you have to see what happens with it down the line.
Yeah.
Those are betas?
You want to take a break?
I think we could take a quick break and then figure out what we're going to talk about in the second half of the show.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be back.
is a dime for the phone. I don't think she realizes.
Or did we do? Hold on. I wasn't looking at you. Did you point?
I pointed.
Okay.
I was
so,
very rude. I only used one finger. I know you're supposed to point with two.
No.
What's a Tarker?
It's a plane in.
Is it a dragon
Not
storm?
engaging. Not engaging.
I
It's
think that's a
dragon
fair
storm.
question.
You know, Joel wants to know too, and that's the problem.
Is it a dragon storm? Yes or no?
No, a dragon storm is a thing
No.
that's happening on Tarkir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Tarker.
It's not.
I'm pretty sure it's a Dune character.
All of these are acceptable
Salam Salam.
answers.
The Tony Shalhoub.
Somebody wrote a review for Echo the Dolphin, but it's one paragraph long. Who did this?
Who's played Echo the Dolphin here?
I have.
How is it?
It's good, but that story is wild.
Okay. I can
Like
never
you-
figure out how to play that game.
You go to the future, and then you end up going into the past to fight dinosaurs.
Okay, but how do you play that game?
With a controller. Hey, did
Yeah.
you guys know Elden Ring Night Rain launched today?
Yes,
Yep.
it did. People are big mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently.
it doesn't have cross-platform, right?
Yeah, but people are mad because they want another Elden Ring, a multiplayer Elden Ring.
And this is what they got.
Apparently,
Is
there's a
this-
Sekiro character in there.
I'm sorry. I thought
yeah?
I thought Night Rain was multiplayer.
It is, but they're saying that they just want Elden Ring. Period. They want another FromSoft game, not
They
a
want a
multiplayer.
sequel or
Yeah.
the Nets from Software Souls game.
Oh.
Getty, what are we going to talk about in the back half here?
We were gonna yell at each other like friends do.
Like we did in that movie theater where I yelled at all those people.
Yeah, I don't know if I told everybody
Did I
about
tell you
the-
guys that story about the wild experience Getty and I had in the movie theater?
I don't think you did.
This doesn't sound familiar.
I thought that I might have told them what happened, but
So we
To
went. We went
preface
to.
it-
We went to like a 10:30 at night movie. We saw Until Dawn
mhm.
at 10:30 at night,
American?
and there was
Central.
a group of teens in front of us gabbing away like Gabby Gabbersons. So of course I say, "Hey, quiet down! Trying to watch a movie." And they quiet down, and then an hour into the movie, 11:30 at night, a full family walk in, and they have a 2-year-old in tow. I
Mhm.
was unaware, but I did find out because they then gave the 2-year-old YouTube on their phone full blast. And I said,
iPad.
turn
Until
off your
Dawn
phone.
is an R-rated movie, in case
Yeah.
you're wondering, for graphic violence and language. So, some
they-
sexual? No sex.
No, but they also came in at 11:30 at night. They missed the first hour of the film.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the kids have to have their nap first before they go out for such a late showing.
And then the person next to me just pulls up TikTok and scrolls for 30 minutes. Now their volume was off, so I could at least respect that, but it was still like full brightness. I was like, what are we even doing?
Oh man.
What are we even doing? Why are we
getting-
here?
We're getting that holding a small screen while watching the big screen experience. Nice.
Yeah.
Do that at home. Don't do it in the theater.
You can't make people do anything at home.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
It was wild. But we did successfully make it through Until Dawn.
It was funny though because I yelled at people, and then every time I did, I'd look at Getty, and Getty would just be silent. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, am I like put it away? And then I'd look at Getty, he goes, I'm like, okay, cool. It was our own little like, am I the a-hole here? And he
No.
definitely was like, nope, you're good. You're good.
It definitely was not. It was. I have not had such a bad film experience in quite some time.
Yeah, and I've been going to movies more now, and I didn't have that experience, so this was like a wild one for me. We saw Until Dawn because it's a video game movie, and I wanted to discuss it. Now, did you guys want to hear about like, as in like, what kind of questions did you guys would have for something like an Until Dawn game to a
Mhm.
movie?
How did they do the loop mechanic? Like, was it explained why they kept starting the night over.
Yes.
It was an explanation in the way that like something had like kind of gotten a hold of them, and somebody needed to like face their own fears, or they would be trapped in the loop forever.
Ah,
So I don't love Alex's explanation. It was
Because I'm also
basically
trying to keep it generic.
I don't
I'm going
care
to
if
do you one
spoil
better.
it.
They need
listen.
to survive until dawn to make it out. Okay? So that is the premise. And then every time they die, they come back until they don't, because something happens to them. And that's
Yes.
where the movie introduces some other elements.
But there is like something regarding like it's based off of one like it's a very specialized loop of torture.
Oh,
And
it's
that
your
person
own personal hell.
Yeah, and that person has to face it in a way like lasting until dawn. I think they also kind of reference that like, no, this is because of you and your trauma. You should probably work on this. And so it does kind of like again play into like a personal hell situation, but it was still it was fun to see how that worked. I do feel like there were like I would have liked more of these like loops to see more of the way it kind of how they varied each time. I thought that could have been cooler. They do it. They show the loop and it is pretty cool, but it isn't as much as I would have wanted.
You get
Because
the best ending in the Until Dawn movie.
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
you also get to view all of some of the really bad endings. So they do a found footage at one point where this guy's like, hey, I don't remember what happened the last couple of times. Let's check out my phone. And then it's just like a whole bunch of sizzle
Montage.
reels of, just them getting
Bad
murdered
ending.
in grisly ways. Yeah.
And they
Those
do
are kind of neat.
and they do a couple of loops as well, but it's more like I think that I would have wanted like I think that they could have added more to that. Even just the like montage could have been more. And it because the montage was cool. The montage was very cool. I just wanted more of it. I think that was that was possibly my favorite part was the montage.
At a certain point, you have to think like, which loops are we going to do? Which ones are going to be the most dramatic? And I think it did a good job of like, you get to watch the first, I think it's 3 or 4. And then after that, they're like, okay, well,
Let's fast forward a little bit.
turns out we've been here for like 9 more loops.
Ah,
So, and each one, it shows in the montage like that they do progressively better until they get to the last one. But
Right.
there are spooky monsters. It had a small like cabin in the woods effect when they do all of the montages. 'Cause it's like, oh yeah, I would definitely want to see some of those creepy things.
Are there any Wendigo?
Yes, that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
Good.
But
they
not
kind of go into it.
not in the same sense as
It's definitely
game.
a different story.
And I'm good with that. This is something where I don't think it would be as interesting if it was just a rehash. Because those games are pretty much trying to be interactive movies anyway.
Mhm.
they really are.
Alec has experience with them now.
Yes.
But I think that this case, it's definitely different, but it does enough to still be kind of fun. I think that, because it did have like maybe 2 or 3 jump scares even. So it's kind of one of those things. If you want to like go in with a bucket of popcorn and just have a good old scare, that's not the the trauma porn like. Oh, we're gonna hit you with some visceral horror or even just some gore. It's like, nah, this is pretty fun scary face and an
body
occasional
horror.
like occasional oh wow, they died in a crazy way.
the clown room or the doll room. God,
Yeah.
Man, there's just something about creepy dolls. But at one point, this guy goes into this room and he's like, that something's gonna happen. You can like sense the jump scare, and there's just a creepy clown doll sitting on the chair, And I'm like, man, don't just leave. Just turn around and leave.
Yeah.
And he goes up to it anyway. He's like, stupid clown, and like punts it across the room.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and gets he gets impaled.
Yeah. So I think it's a good it's good for that kind of movie if you want something completely inconsequential. Like like right now Final Destination's in theaters, and I would say that, hey, if you like Final Destination, you'd probably like Until Dawn.
What if I don't like Final Destination?
You probably won't like Until Dawn.
Okay. But what if I did like Until Dawn and I still don't like Final Destination? Am I the problem?
Yes. I would say so.
I've never wanted to break the non-swearing code as much as I do right now.
Just
Wow.
mute your mic.
Yeah. Thank you.
We need a bleep button. Joel, bleep that up.
I muted myself.
Just throw in a bleep. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, do that. just one long bleep right there. Let the audience wonder what I said.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're gonna do a sequel. They kind of could, and they don't really have too much. It's similar to the game itself, the idea of the Wendigo, but that's about it.
I don't think that they will, only because it did not do well.
No,
I don't think that it did anything of what they were hoping for.
that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, movies aren't doing so well. Everything's expensive.
Everything's expensive because everybody has to go to the theater and buy a $45 popcorn bucket.
Honestly, the best part of theaters dying has been a lot of empty theaters to watch movies in. So that's been nice.
Agreed.
Except for the one that we were in.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
you guys
nice.
were in Chicago. That's a
And
Chicago
actually,
problem.
that was still pretty empty.
Yeah.
You just happened to find all the inconsiderate
They were all
people.
around us because we got like center. We got
To be
full
fair,
center.
It was on it was a Saturday night, wasn't it? It was a
Yeah.
Friday night? Okay,
It was a-
so Saturday night, 10:30, the same weekend that Thunderbolts came out. Didn't expect there to be that many people there. I was surprised that people showed up to that movie when there
it
were
was-
other options.
And again, there still wasn't like, it was a kind of an empty theater. We had the kid group in front of us, the people on TikTok on our right, and then the family on our left, and maybe one other family behind us. The rest of the theater was pretty empty.
No, you remember there were a couple of families that were behind us because one of the kids brought the blanket, the theater blanket.
okay, you're right. You're right.
And then when we got up, there were people that were still standing behind us because they were
But
just
I'm
hanging
saying
out.
is that you got to imagine, though, it's still not a packed. It wasn't fully sold.
Oh no! And again, Thunderbolts, and I know that there were people in that theater because they were going to go see that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Until Dawn, just
But somebody
Other-
who likes Thunderbolts like Until Dawn.
I don't know that those two things are related.
But would
Yeah.
they?
Well, the gaming community, I don't know, is the gaming community, it depends on the gaming community. Sometimes it's like really hit or miss on superhero films.
So, I don't know. Maybe. Let's just say yes.
There you go. There you go. The answer is yes.
I'm making a ruling here.
That sounds like a good rental.
Yeah, definitely
that
do it.
makes sense.
Check it out. I think
Check
you'll
when it
appreciate
comes.
it.
It should be coming to streaming soon.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, pretty quick. I don't think it'll be too long before it's on streaming. So we also play video games on this podcast, contrary to popular belief. This week, Alex wanted to bring one to us, and then I could talk for a very brief moment about Escape Academy because I feel like some of you guys have already played it, so you're
I'm about halfway
familiar
through
with it. Okay. All right. Okay, so Alex is going to run us through Betrayal at Club Low.
What was it? The
I don't know.
what,
Shorty there?
the Star
You played
Citizen.
it.
Star Citizen.
Citizen.
The Disco Elysium.
Okay.
So if y'all like rolling dice, like rolling them dice, some dice.
Dice.
If the mood strikes.
Like seeing them in fully rendered 3D roll across your screen.
I like my math rocks. Go on.
Okay. This is one of those where it's a very quirky, silly. You could tell that this person used some very generic assets. The characters look like they're mannequins with like clothes put on them, very silly. You're a secret agent who has to get in and save another secret agent who's in trouble in a nightclub. What were we gonna say, Eddie?
I wasn't going to say anything, but okay. That sounds interesting.
And you have stats that each have their own dice. So it'll show you like charisma, and it'll show you all the faces of a dice. So it'll say all ones, and then strength will be all ones, and performance and lie and deception, cooking, etc. They all start out with ones across the board.
Cooking?
And
Hold
yes.
on. Cooking.
It is one of them.
Why?
So to get into the club, you are a pizza man.
No. You said you're a secret agent that's trying to
Oh,
save another secret
your
agent.
disguise is a pizza man, and you will try to deceive people with how delicious your pizza can be.
But you didn't make the pizza.
But you can actually alter it, and there is a section where you end up having to cook or know food knowledge. There's
Now-
like lots of things where you can impress people with your food knowledge.
Is there, or that is how you chose to play?
Well, it's so you have all of these die,
Uh-huh.
and as you get money, you pay money to either upgrade every side of the die or go one by one for different faces. So you could have a die that, like, I'm going to take my charisma, I'm going to go 2 2 2 1 1 1, and then I have the opportunity to get a 2 out of this roll. And the more money you get, the more you can upgrade your die. And there's really kind of only a certain amount of money you probably grind out in these scenarios. So it's like the first thing you have to do is like, there's a line with a bouncer. What are you going to do? But there's other things, like if you go to the back alley, there's a whole other section of things you could do to try to get in. And it's just a club, but there's probably 4 to 5 different ways to get in, whether it be getting like doing these checks across the different people in line to get to the head of the line, convincing the bodyguard, sneaking in back to the sleeping bodyguard at the back door, climbing up the fire escape. There's all these different options, all based on your stats, and there's different ways to boost them by, entertaining the crowd by doing a dance, and if you get the right roll, and you're rolling against them, so they'll roll a die as well, and whenever you do a check, it'll say this is their die, and you're like, man, that die is all 5s. I have a dice that's only 2s in this stat. That's not going to work. So you have to kind of like gauge what you're. Then on top of that, you get buffs and debuffs. If you win a bunch of rolls, all of a sudden you have confidence. So a second die will roll that'll give you bonus. But if you then win the next roll, it'll be cockiness, and that die now will have a +2 or +1 or a -2 or a -1, some other ones on there. So there is like some play in there. You get, if you miss a roll, all of a sudden you lose your debuff, that when you roll there'll be another die that rolls that'll have negatives. So there's a lot in play, and you're just trying to either tie or totally beat the other roll that you're going against. It's pretty short. It's a short time experience. This was recommended to from one of my friends at Indie City Games. But it's a really bite-sized one of these, in that the Disco Elysium way. What are you looking at, Joel?
It's just, I'm on the Steam page and everything's really grungy and dimly lit, kind of run down and warped, and it's like the characters look like very old PC model character kind of stuff, and here's a fruit texture that is just a flat image of a pile of fruit. So I like the aesthetic of this. It's good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you convince the bouncer, like, hey, take the night off. And the bouncer's like, great. And then he puts his hand in the air, and then he just shoots off like a rocket into the sky. And it's like, huh, okay. And so whenever you like convince someone to take a night off, they just do, okay. and like rocket out into the sky. You're like, oh, that was weird. But it's just like, you know, they don't have a whole lot of animation. Again, a very small outfit that made this, but it's pretty fun. Especially in just like it's very mechanic rich. You have health and sanity, so some die will take hits to that. Your stat boosts and the way you're rolling toward, you know, beating these other stats and trying to get these things. And you do have like there is a reroll mechanic. You do get 2 rerolls per, and you can pick one die that'll let you reroll. So if you're trying to hit that roll and you miss it, you can, you know, take a couple more tries to roll just like what. Like you got a 5 and a 1, and crap, I need a 7. I'm gonna reroll that 1. So there is a little bit more play in there.
Oh, there is a
Sounds
demo.
interesting.
Yeah, nice.
I just kind of yeah, and it's pretty short, and like I think like 3 hours. So I just kind of dove in one day, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just dig into this and re-roll a bunch of stuff. And of course, there is like a little bit of a save scumming, obviously. So if you really are worried about that, you could always do that. But I mostly liked the losses because even the losses got me some funny dialogue and, you know, a debuff or a buff that were just to kind of like change up how I was playing. So and again, also it was just like there was like 5 different exits. It's like, okay, you have to get the guy. How do you get the guy? Well, here's 6 different ways to get the guy out. Okay, and then where do we escape? Well, here's 6 different ways to escape. And you just could figure all of that out and just play around with it because it's a pretty, again, small space in a small game. So they're able to just have a lot going on. Like convincing, you could convince the DJ to help you, or you could just become him and like convince him that you're better than him. You could have him fired. You could you can convince that his manager's stealing money from him, so he's super angry and like goes off to fight his man. No, he is. But you can go and have him fight his manager, and it's like, oh, this is all pretty good. Like, what am I gonna do? And I definitely became the DJ, got the whole crowd to think I was the best DJ ever. And then I went to go find the guy who like the other agent I was trying to save, and he's being held by a mafia boss. The mafia boss goes, "Oh, you're that killer DJ," and it like, you know, it's like, do you want to convince him to help you? Roll, and you also get bonus die because the crowd is pumped on you. And I was like, oh, so it just all played out that I was getting bonuses because I pumped up the crowd, and I didn't even realize it. I was just like, what am I gonna do here? Oh, I could pump up this crowd. That seems fun. I'm going to roll some dice on that. You know what I mean? It just, everything kind of did work together and coalesce into something I thought was a fun adventure. Yep. So that was a Betrayal at Club Low.
And Rob Lowe was not there, right?
No, Rob Lowe was not there.
Okay.
Looks
Just
like
making sure.
there's a demo of the next game in his this developer's line of work, Move of the Diamond Hand.
Ooh, I'll check that out. Maybe we'll play that for next week. Is that out? No,
The demo
next week.
But the game is not out yet.
The game is not out yet, but the demo is.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll check that out.
It's an important distinction. We don't play games that are out in this podcast.
No.
Maybe next time.
We don't believe in games.
But
or
the
video game
games
accessories.
believe in you.
No, they don't.
Hope not.
Don't give those games this kind of power. Like I said, I have this Epic Game Store thing that every week they're like, hey, have some games. And it's, I don't know about you guys, but I have so many games on the Epic Game Store. It's like you just walk in and they're like, hey, here's 3 games. And I was eventually just like, fine. All right, Escape Academy. I don't know what that is. Let's see what it is. I have like 3 games that are installed on my computer. Haven't opened them. So Escape Academy was one that I installed a while ago. I was like, all right, let's do this. So started up and it's like, hey, you like escape rooms? And I was like, they're fine. And then you go to this, the story's kind of funny because you go to this like really rundown escape room. And it's like, all right, you gotta get out. And
half the stuff's broken.
Plays it off like the person who is at the desk doesn't even care, doesn't want to be there. And then, yeah, like everything's really shoddy. Even the puzzles are kind of half-baked.
Like
It's
one of
like,
them just
"Alright."
says, "Pretend a key was here."
Yeah, exactly. So you make it through that. It's pretty simple, but then after you make it out of the room, that's where it starts to take a nice twist. It's like, all right, now get out of the escape room building, and then you follow it to this train, and the person who was previously the uninterested clerk at the counter is now like the head of an escape academy. It's like, okay, you want to join? Let's go there. And then it's not Harry Potter, but it
It's
makes
real
me
Harry Potter.
it makes me
it's got
feel in a
that
way that it tries to be.
No, you're right though. It's got that same sort of like whimsy to it.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like, let's check out all of the different professors. Like, this one's really cool, and he wants you to graffiti your name on this monument. And then, like the bus driver, Jeb, I think it is. he's just like, hey, uh, there's a couple that I did for Jeb. One of them was in the cafeteria. He's like, yeah, man, I made you a milkshake, and then you drink the milkshake, and it's like, you've been poisoned. You got to solve more puzzles. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
And it,
Why is that a thing?
and then it, like the screen has like a, when you get poisoned, it changes it so it's the color purple, and then it makes you do a bunch of stuff to get cured. But in between the main
The one of them is like the janitor. It's like, oh, help me fix the plumbing, and you get down there. It's like, oh, by the way, there's a toxic gas leak. You only have
Yep.
30 minutes. It's like, what?
yeah, and I like that if you're really quick, you can do it in the time frame. Some of them, it gives you time piecemeal. There's another one where you're trying to fix the plumbing, but the water level is increasingly rising, and you only have 5 minutes per room. It's manageable. I haven't felt like at any point in time I was not going to be able to complete it. There's been a couple of times where it got dicey and it was down to the wire, but overall not overly complicated. And then in the main story beats, uh, they throw in these interactions with some of the teachers, some of the other people on campus, but also like field missions. There was one that they make you do where you are rescuing the headmaster's brother, and I did not know what was going on, and I got stuck for like a good 5 minutes at the start of that mission because it's like, I need the serial number off of the machine that's attacking me, the turret. And I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like going over to this side of the room, going over to that side of the room, and then eventually figuring out and being like, oh, I'm a bonehead.
Yeah, I remember where was it? It was like you had to like look in the mirror, find a way to see the turret, the back of the turret.
No, it's on one of the screens, but then I was looking at it like, how am I supposed to figure what this is? But it's one of those really simple things. When you see it, then you're like, oh, well, I'm an idiot.
I made this way too complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it. I think it was like it was a B and then minus a bone, okay,
Mhm.
and then in the second picture it was 6 D's, and I just kept staring at it. I was like, how am I supposed to know what this is?
160.
Yeah, exactly. But for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out until like a couple of minutes, and I was like, oh, yeah. Nah, it makes sense now. Yeah, I'm nearly done with it. It's again
Super fun.
very quick. None of the rooms that I've encountered have taken me the full half an hour. There have been a couple that it got close to, but it also gives you a score at the end of the stage, and there are hints available if you're not sure or if you need help. So it's very friendly. It wants you to be able to succeed, and overall, just like a really fun, breezy escape room experience without the high stakes of having to go hang out with your friends.
Ooh, who wants to do that?
Exactly.
Yeah. They do also allow the option to extend your time by another like 10 or 15 minutes at a time. Right.
They do?
Yeah. There are options after you lose. You said you didn't lose, right?
No.
So
What's-
that If you
I've
run out of
only- yeah.
yeah, if they run out of time, they give you the option to extend time and keep going. So
Okay.
it is very user friendly, and that was a big help to me.
I can tell you the one time that I used a clue was in the uh what stage was it? The
I got
greenhouse.
stuck. I got stuck
It
at
was
the
the
art,
greenhouse.
the art one.
The greenhouse.
Yeah.
I was like, I do not know what I'm looking for, and then I hit the clue button and it was like the tree at the beginning had initials in it, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like I must
Yeah.
have walked past that thing a dozen times and I didn't see those initials. But yeah, no, it's again not overly complicated. Most of the puzzles are pretty obvious, and it offers a bit of a challenge. It's fun. Go
Mhm.
play it. It was free. I have so many free Epic Game Store games. I need to play them.
You don't have to play games, Getty.
I am foregoing like other. I've thought about purchasing. There's a lot of good sales right now, so I'm like, oh, I could buy this, I could buy that, and instead I'm like, I'm gonna play Escape Academy. I'm gonna.
I've been
finish
staying
that.
pretty hard on. I haven't bought anything in a while, so that's also what I've been doing is going through and finding like the ones. Okay, how can I? Which ones have I? Do I have that are free that I've been kind of knock out and beat? I think I got like at one point I got the Stanley Parable, the deluxe.
That for sure was on Epic Game Store.
Yeah, the remake one. So I got that. I'm gonna play that at some point too.
Yeah, it's just raining games over here. Hold on, I'll tell you what other games I have installed on this thing that I didn't even fire up because I'm too lazy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's even laziness. It's just like I'm
And games-
gonna do it.
Also, games keep coming out too. Joel, did you see 2 a T came out?
Which one is to a T?
That's the Katamari guy.
Oh, I hadn't been keeping track of that one.
Yeah, it came out. It's on Game Pass.
Okay.
Called 2
I
a
know.
T.
So Redacted, I also installed. I don't even know how long ago that was, but I was like, this could be interesting. And then a game that I have played but still haven't been able to finish, Solitarica.
Oh, I love Solitarica. I beat that. I beat that on my phone.
Yeah, but that one's something where it's like I got other stuff that I'm doing. I could just put this one on and try and make some progress on it.
I don't know if there's beating that one. I just got unlocked everything for every class.
There is the, I mean, you can get to the end of it, so I imagine that it's possible to beat it. But I think that it also can increase the difficulty after you reach the end.
I don't think there's credits though, is there?
I doubt it. I don't think that's the kind of game where you're going to
Yeah,
get credits.
that's what I'm saying. Is I don't think it's that type of game.
But I mean, you can beat it. It will get you at
Oh no, I meant
to,
like I beat it. I beat the each one with each class. And,
Ah.
like I did enough because there's unlocks in there as well. So I definitely unlocks for every class.
okay. Yep.
I like it. I like that one.
And I know that they are giving away Tiny Tina's Wonderlands right now. So
We should play that on Extra Life.
I've already played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
But with the rest of us three.
No, just with Stevers, but if that's what you want, sure.
I mean, it's local co-op.
You're gonna make everybody locally play Tiny Tina?
Maybe.
Okay. So we'll mosey on over to our final segment. Not even a segment. Our little outro here, where we're gonna do one last thing. This week's one last thing can be brought to you by, I don't know, man. Switch 2? That's a thing, right?
Yep. We will have it in hands by the time the next episode goes up.
I won't, but that's
Some
fine.
of us will.
Some of you will. Some of you will be playing Donkey Kong,
No.
I think that's out later this year.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Likely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be playing that.
All right. How about we say one last thing brought to you by Joel mercilessly crushing his kids at the new Mario Kart before the next episode.
Fair.
All right. I hope that that's the case. I hope you can report back and be like, Yeah, I'm the Mario Kart champion of the house.
Yeah,
I
Donkey
scared the
Kong
Moy on 8.
Bonanza is July 17th.
Oh, so soon.
Yeah.
Like a month after. A little bit more than a month. All right. My one last thing. I think I am over the 50% mark of Expedition 33. I was waiting for Alex to, even hint or say that he reached the end of Act 1. Did he?
What is the end of Act 1?
It says end of Act 1 after you finish it. So I'm going to
a
take that
no.
as a no.
I got
So-
that one weird lady who has the sun and moon thing, and I had
All
no
right.
idea how to understand what she did. So I said, and I shut off the game.
All right. I will
Freak
continue
out.
to wait until he can reach that point to carry a conversation on with him. Alex, what do you got?
None. Just hanging out, doing my thing. I started that Persona 3 episode. I guess the reason also is because I just went out 3 from my box. So I was like, well, I want to knock this out so I can uninstall it and put that, because the Persona series, the Shin Megami Tensei, I definitely prefer having the physical copies. So I also know that I will be, once I beat it, I will uninstall it, but I'm not going to resell that. But I'm like, well, let's just get this uninstalled so then I can install some of it. So that's where I'm like, episode I guess is that long, so let's knock that out while I'm playing some other stuff. And since it's like a turn-based RPG that's not that long, I could do it passively.
Passively.
There's not really like a social link aspect.
Yeah. Okay.
Time loops and whatnot.
Joel?
Okay, honest opinion here. Is Expedition 33 something that would grab my interest?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
He said yes.
You love Sea of Stars, did you not?
Yes.
So it's Sea of Stars, but now 3D.
I'm waiting to see Getty's response
I
here.
don't know if I agree exactly with that.
Turn-based RPG with Paper Mario mechanics that will help make the turn-based a little bit more active.
I
It's super
would tell
French.
you that it is probably more in line with the Persona game,
Mhm.
especially with the free aim where you can just shoot stuff. There are no obvious weaknesses, but the Paper Mario mechanics, or however Alex had described it, yes, you can use those. They're not necessary to succeed in the game.
Someone has gone through the game not using dodge or parry mechanics, but that's absolutely not you're wrong, Getty. You're wrong.
You don't need to be perfect at using
No,
those
you don't need to
mechanics
be
in order to
perfect,
succeed.
but you need to parry, you need to dodge, you need to.
You don't need to. If
There
you
was
just
some-
want to
there's
take the
somebody
hits.
that did it without it, and they said it was a pain in the butt.
But they did it.
Did it.
And now that you're an expert at the timed counters in Sekiro, I think that you'd probably stand a better chance.
Because the parries will take someone's health bar down by 2/3. You will sit there and do regular attacks, inching away, but if you parry, it will take their health down by 2/3. So it's like
His
what?
2/3 is a made up number.
Uh-huh.
It depends on the mob you're fighting.
I guess
the
then
weaker
all
ones,
the
yes.
mobs that I've fought so far in the first 6 hours of gameplay.
Yep, those are the ones that you're like, oh yeah, I'm so strong. He's gonna get further in, and he's gonna be like, oh no, what happened?
For sure. Yes. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong in saying that they are pretty close to, if damn near not necessary.
It
Okay.
helps.
All right.
You don't have to play it though.
A lot of
Do
mimes.
whatever you feel like doing, man.
A lot of mimes, I think you will.
I've beaten up
especially
a
if
lot of mimes.
Especially if you hate mimes.
I think I've beaten up 10 mimes now.
Yep.
Alec, bring us home.
Part of me wants to just cheap out and be like, same question.
Yes, I think you would like it.
Really?
It doesn't hit you with an hour-long mission except for the very intro hours. If you get past the first hour of the game, after that it picks up pretty fast.
Yes, that is true.
All right.
So if you could make it past that intro, then you're gonna be fine.
Well, after
would never
beat
s- I-
Trials of Mana, I'll pick it up.
I would never suggest you to play Persona.
Oh no, I tried that once. It was not a good time.
I loaded up episode, I guess, and I've not played yet, and it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah, no.
Awesome. All right. That'll be it for this week's episode of Super GG Radio. Before we go, you can find us on Blue Sky at Super GG Radio and twitch.tv/Super GG Radio, where Thursdays we alternate from a podcast to whatever Alec is doing. Sometimes I show up and we play Magic. I think that's probably going to happen in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well,
Probably.
2 weeks. I think Final Fantasy drops.
Yep. So we got that. Alex is picking his way through Expedition 33. Joel is still finding some time to squeeze in Sekiro, hoping to overcome. So you beat Lightning Daddy, and now you've got a couple more bosses that you need to do, but you don't know where they are. So
Correct.
you'll find them, and one of them I would disagree should be even considered a boss fight.
Okay.
The folding screen monkeys. That was
I do like the fact that it is it's a little puzzle. It's a puzzle. It's a little puzzle.
it's kind of a puzzle, but it's not a boss fight in the conventional sense.
No, it is not.
And that's what we have streaming. So check out all of that or any of that, whatever tickles your fancy. Otherwise, if you'd like to reach us with questions or input, our email address is mail@superggradio.com, and provide us a review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice. Please check out our Patreon, where you can get monthly pictures of our pups, get your name read off as an executive producer, free copies of Early Adopters, and hey, you can even have the chance to play games with us, the goons of Super GG Radio.
We don't like that phrase.
I am.
What's wrong with that phrase?
Not a good one.
I
Continue.
want to talk about it.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it.
I'll be a troll. We'll do it that way. Thanks for listening, and good game, Alex.
GG Getty.
Good game, Joel.
Good game.
Good game, Alec.
GG.
I just want to know what's in the Sydney Sweeney soap.